What's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, no. Good afternoon. Good evening. Happy Sunday. What's up? Welcome to another stream. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. You guys had a good week as well. It's going to be the last week of May, so basically, what, 5 months of the year going to be gone already. Time flies. And yeah, interesting few months after the first, second, January and February. It was a bit choppy, but since then it's been quite volatile. Some markets have been trading, some others have been ranging, but overall, yeah, quite volatile and creating opportunities for all types of traders. What's up, Jack? Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, so yeah, let's get to it. So basically, we're going to take a look into the different assets that we look at. FX, commodities, indices, a little bit of crypto as well, which we had the approval of the ETFs, Ethereum ETF over the weekend, not over the weekend, on Thursday, if not mistaken, that we had this big move up and down in here. So interesting, and let's see if now resumes the bullish momentum, just basically reacting from this previous supply that didn't really work as a supply, so now basically working as a demand. So the level itself was quite good, and not exactly a level to turn bearish just because we managed to break these lows. Quite the opposite. It's actually quite good in here. So yeah, maybe continuation of a momentum in here. We'll see what's going to happen. No live image. Oh my god. What do you mean? Cannot see my monitor, my screen? Let's just see. No problem. Yeah, I'm looking at dollar index. That's the one I'm looking. Yeah, I think it's working on my end. At least I can see it in here. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Now looking at the news for next week, which is going to be again a little bit quiet. It was also quiet last week, and not really big news, and that's why I kind of had a little bit of indecision. Thursday it was okay. There was though many commentary from Fed members, though they were creating volatility. Also have positive earnings on Nvidia, which led initially the indices to break new highs, but the day after actually had a big sell-off in the market, which is interesting. It's not that common if you compare actually the previous earnings announcements from Nvidia, and they have been beating expectations for a few earnings now. The day after usually tends to be another big bullish momentum on the indices, and this week, or this time, it was not. It was actually almost a big reversal, daily bearish candle, engulfing candle on the indices, which again, it's not that normal. Like, so when you see big news or positive news, and important positive news, and the market reacts the opposite, that's usually a concern. So it's going to be interesting to see, and you'll take a look at it later on. For next week, the bigger one is going to be Core PC on Friday. Aside from that, it starts slowly with the bank holiday in the US tomorrow, also in the UK. So let's see what kind of volatility we're going to have tomorrow. We have BOG though, government way speakings, and the NPRs continue to be something that we continue to follow, producing good opportunities and anticipating eventually when you're going to have another big turn on the NPRs. But yeah, that's most of the big ones going to be on Friday with Core PC, and then the week after that it resumes everything again with the labor market announcement in June, and then eventually starts with the interest rate decisions, and that's going to be the big one to see if in the Eurozone we start already with the first rate cut, leading eventually the rate cut movement that's going to happen eventually across all central bankers, but the Eurozone may lead that that move. We'll see. Yeah, so dollar index, right? So not really has changed comparing with last week. We kind of closing here. We're looking to see which direction price would break in this case, either breaking this high first. We mentioned that the low on the dollar index was quite good. So that was indeed something that we paid attention to. This month zone was okay. I'll put it a little bit maybe to the euro at maybe the low or the high. It was not perfect, but eventually managed to hold. But yes, apparently price just continued to respect this structure and eventually start moving to the upside in this compression mode. We broke higher and then eventually we're looking for price to get a little bit more to the upside. Right, and something that I also mentioned, it was that for me to actually turn bullish in here, I would prefer to see, one second. I would have preferred to see price creating a little bit of structure in here to eventually going to be looking for some kind of opportunity around this level in here. Okay, so I didn't really want to just price to do something like this. I would prefer to see a little bit more of structure. So, and now you have that. Okay, so we create a little bit of the structure, which means that maybe eventually in the future there's going to be some attraction around this level to look for price to go higher, and eventually can lead a little bit of this level in here for the potential breakout and then eventually moving higher. We did manage to take this level as well, basically out of this range. So if you wanted to consider this zone in here, it started with these guys in here with this level. After breaking the structure, we now have kind of moving lower in here. So yeah, basically we managed to break that. Same on the euro, dollar. We also kind of managed to break some lows in there in here. This reaction was okay. I actually was looking for one last fake out in here. So price basically open and start moving straight away downside. I was looking maybe for one last, at least even here. Price kind of still left that level above there, or even could happen a little bit more of another fake out in here, even though you may have actually the break in here, fake out in there. So that actually happened in there, to be honest. Yeah, we'll see. 1 second. I changed the music for something else. Yeah, so for example, if you go into the lower time frame, you actually see the engulf down, and then we have the fake out, and yeah, around this level, kind of 720. Maybe that would have been maybe one of the best potential entries, somewhere under the test of that level. On the other time frame, maybe it looked like there was maybe something in there, but you do have engulf down, the fake out happening, and then kind of start breaking the structure. That's maybe the opportunity to start looking, but price just compressed in here. Sometimes it does create that one last fake out before the move down. Didn't really create it, and then just respected also this lower edge in here, and it continued to move down. And the euro dollar is basically the opposite, but to the upside in here. We didn't manage to break below this low, so that's going to be an interesting one to see if price tomorrow kind of respects still this demand zone and continues to go higher. Same thing with the euro, respects the supply or not, or if you do manage to break below that, then I could see eventually basically filling the rest of that space in there. I think that can be eventually a level to see dollar index moving towards too. Yeah, so again, if you do break, if you do break below this level, this will looking for at least to fill the space, and then actually to eventually go all the way and to try to play out from here. If you do get good PA from this level, maybe you can look for a long. If price by any sense just starts actually rejecting and actually just moving lower, then you start going even further down, and this actually just becomes literally a turn in here, a continuation, a confirmation of another turn, and another low being created, which then starts pushing maybe dollar index a bit more to the downside. But at this point, this low is still quite good, and something in here can still hold price to the upside. Now that actually maybe managed to break slightly above that structure in here. I think I would have been a bit more bearish if price had just paused in there. Okay, if price had just paused in there and actually moved lower, I think eventually could be a bit more bearish because we actually made this last move upwards. That may work slightly a bit as an engulf upwards. We'll see. If you do manage to break below that, maybe we can have a little bit of retracement, and from here there's maybe another opportunity to look for a sell, kind of just respecting these left shoulders in here. So that can be a level to look for this type of a move in here on the dollar index. Yep, unless everything has been compressed on the way down, we'll see. That's something to look for on the dollar index. So basically, go right. Yeah, somewhere in here, somewhere in there, can still interesting levels to look for setups in here. So we'll see. Without news, just a little bit of GDP again, kind of end of the week, and then PCE on Friday. We may continue within this range for a little bit longer. Euro index, again, Euro index, it was one of the clearest as well charts of the week. This was actually the range that we have been looking for. Okay, price again fake out that level on the left a little bit. Okay, fake out these highs, got into that supply level. Now is at the extreme in here. So that was something that we were looking at, and then as soon as price starts again create this strong compression, this trend line in here, eventually to start moving lower in here. So that also helped a little bit the bias to look for initially those initial shorts on the euro, and then basically build a little bit of this price reacting from this demand zone. Initially that was not there, but now with this level in here, it's a bit closer. I'm curious to see how price may react from here, and if this level in here holds and it's going to be another pushing lower, or if we eventually just manage to go even to the upside and eventually go and take those highs. Again, bigger picture, we are still looking eventually for this euro index to even go above these highs in there, and to maybe react. What am I doing? Second. Okay, and maybe even react from that level above this double top. So that's still on the euro index in terms of higher time frame. And then what does that mean for the euro? Maybe continue to push slightly a little bit more to the upside. Even though, as I mentioned, this euro index is not just correlated with euro dollar. Okay, euro dollar is not, maybe that's a little bit more percentage wise of the weight that it has on this index, but many times you actually see euro dollar maybe sometimes moving lower and this one moving higher, as it has impact as well on the other euro pairs, euro pound, euro CAD, euro Aussie, euro yen, and so on and so forth in here. But yes, curious to see how price may react from that level, to see which level in here is going to be broken first to the downside, and from there, yeah, we may have a move down in here. Euro index, yen index. This is another one that we talked about, and we were expecting the continuation to the downside in a compression shape, right? So if you recall from last week, that's exactly what we looked at. Okay, we also mentioned that initially the move to downside in here on the on the yen index, it was not really with the retracements. Price was just moving basically down. And for this week, we mentioned that we were expecting a little bit more of something like that, okay? Which with these kind of moves, that would actually offer opportunities to trade both ways on this yen index. And then the same thing on the individual yen pairs, okay? If you're looking for reversals on the individual yen pairs, you'll be looking for shorts. If you're still looking for continuations, you'll be looking for longs. And basically, there was opportunities for both traders. Of course, more in as a bullish trend on the individual yen pairs, and a little bit more of a bearish on the yen index. But intraday, there was opportunities for both traders, for buyers and sellers, to participate in here. Of course, managing the expectation, that's something important. to be aware of when looking or trading these compression moves. Okay, especially if you are into the reversal mode. This is the moment that you need to be a little bit in on managing your own expectations. We call this the zone 3 type of a move. Okay, that's basically the moment that maybe price starts to show some weakness for eventually maybe create, we'll call it kind of a zone 4, which is basically then eventually the bottom in this case. So yeah, be aware of that. But yes, in this moment you can either, if you are again buyer seller, you can look for it, manage your expectations in here. Okay, in terms of targets and how you manage your trades. So we are starting to move. There's not exactly a proper break of a high. There was maybe a little bit in here, but price just respected the next one. We still have a little bit of this trend line that's going on in here. What else do we have? Like, we have this important demand zone, and this may be actually the level eventually where this yen index is going to go towards to. Okay, now it may not be, or it may not move directly into there straight away. It may create a little bit of a range first to attract some liquidity and eventually to move and make that type of PA. Okay, so what I mean by that is that eventually we may have a little bit of a double bottom being created in here. Okay, and that double bottom eventually is going to start attracting more buyers into this level until eventually we have the price eventually retracing and again attract even more buyers in here, and this is the moment that maybe we can have that last fake out. Now I don't know if it's going to be from here or if that double bottom that I'm talking about may happen a little bit closer to the level. Personally, I would like it to see happening a little bit closer to the demand zone. I think this is still quite of a big distance, and the way you can think about it is, for example, if you are looking to fake out these buyers, do you reckon that they will be placing their stop loss all the way into here, or maybe just somewhere kind of closer to these walls, right? Most likely just in here. No one is going to be looking to buy in here and placing their stop loss with just a big distance in here, right? So that's a little bit too far away still for the manipulation. But it could work a little bit as a double bottom for now. Then maybe can continue with some kind of compression until we eventually have kind of then fake out in going like that. Like again, sometimes these yen pairs or yen index do like to create this kind of big spikes down or this big momentum down, so that could also work eventually. But yes, just a rule of thumb: sometimes when you're looking to create liquidity, ask yourself, if you were any kind of buyer at around this level, where would you actually be placing your stop loss? And if maybe where would be, like most people just place stop loss below the lows or above the highs, and if that level is still kind of far away from the real demand or supply level that you are looking for, or whatever name you want to call it, then maybe still not the moment in there, unless there may be some news, and that can of course create that momentum before price pushed on. But that's a good way to think about when to look or expect maybe the liquidity or the fake out to happen in here. So yes, a little bit maybe more of a continuation. Again, we have Governor Ueda speaking at 1:30 AM in a few hours. We'll see what kind of movement is going to create. For sure he's going to comment in terms of any kind of intervention from the Bank of Japan or any idea for the policy rates in terms of hiking again or not. So we'll see, and what kind of impact it's going to have already on the yen pairs when the market opens in a few hours after he speaks. So, but yes, now we are looking at this demand zone, right? So let's just carry on with this point. What we have is that in some of the yen pairs, and we are talking about Aussie yen and pound yen, price already reacted from here. In reality, Aussie yen I think is still reacting from here. Or it's actually reacting. Let's pretend that this value in here. I think it reacted from here, but not exactly from the extreme on the Aussie yen. But on the pound yen, we actually already managed to fake out slightly this level, and price is already reacting from something else in here. Okay. Now dollar yen is still far away. Dollar yen is still kind of reacting from this level. CAD yen even farther away, and euro yen is getting closer. Euro yen is getting really closer now to this same level in here. Okay, so what I mean is, depending on which yen pair you are looking for or looking at, Some of them had already got really close to this level, some of them already reacted from this level, some others are still lagging in terms of eventually getting there. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see where those individual yen pairs are going to be when this yen index actually is going to be there. And of course, paying attention also to dollar yen, it's always a good, an important aspect to look at. Okay, now we're going to eventually look at those individually, but it's just to get an idea of what to consider, maybe which yen pairs maybe can try to look for trades in there. All right, so that's a little bit of this yen index and euro index and dollar index. Now, the US indices, right? So that's exactly what we mentioned before. We had, was it Wednesday? Oh, Wednesday night we had NVIDIA earnings announcing their earnings, again better than expected, and you had actually prices moving down, all of a sudden spiked up, and it finished the day or overnight it went slightly higher until eventually the day after it just had this big sell-off in here, managing all the way to break below these lows in here. Okay, so that's interesting. And where did price reacted to? It actually went all the way to react from this demand zone, so it's perfect, right? Basically close the gap in here. It is actually a level that we mentioned last week. If you guys remember, we were talking about a potential sell opportunities when you are at the all-time highs, how to trade all-time highs. But one of the first targets that you can look at, as soon as we break the new all-time highs, one of the targets is always to respect or to retrace eventually to the previous high, okay, which again eventually is going to attract new buyers at around this level, just those buyers that are looking for the breakout setup in here. Okay, so by any chance, if you do find any target, any short in here, that will be one of the targets. And the second target that we mentioned, I actually think I draw this demand zone last week during the stream. It's the demand zone that eventually created the break of this high, right? So initially we have just a normal retest of the previous support resistance, and aside from that we also have basically the demand zone that actually managed to break above this level. So one reaction was already in here, I kind of even add another one in there, and now we have the third one, which is actually into the demand zone. Okay, so basically it closed this gap straight away in here. Now curious to see, maybe our price may react around this structure in here. Okay, if there's a continuation now within this range and eventually pushing towards this level, and if these highs actually are going to also manage to respect price or not. Okay, so that's another one to pay attention. We actually may have a small supply in there, not small, but we have some kind of supply in there also to pay attention to. Now, bigger picture, right? So what we have on the bigger picture is a little bit of this, right? This for me is still an engulf down. Okay, so just something to bear in mind. Eventually when price turns, price can actually fill all this space in here. And yes, so we have basically price breaking into this compression. We have a supply kind of an engulf to downside in here, and now we just had the fake out in here, right? This demand zone, it was kind of an important one, maybe this one even more important, to see if you actually manage to break below this level, or even some people may just look at this one, they're already kind of considered as an engulf down, not so much, and always having a second break of a low, it's important as well to confirm that turn. But eventually, if you do manage to start breaking below this structure, eventually you can have price filling all the way to this price again. Yes, maybe you still have a level in there to pay attention to, but eventually you start turning and increasing the likelihood that you can eventually fill out this level again in there, and then eventually you can even go below that level. So yes, pay attention to this. If you're already considering a short, just kind of an engulf down because you took this above low, which can happen, that can be interesting. And depending on the PA that you have, maybe there can start be an interesting potential sell opportunity from around this level in here to maybe start looking for that, okay, in here. So that's going to be an interesting thing to follow this week on the indices. What kind of behavior, right? So we have basically now this demand zone in alignment with this previous lows, and then you have a little bit of this level, and maybe if we actually zoom in a little bit more, there's maybe something else in here. We actually have this level that maybe price can react in there. So that's going to be interesting to look at. Okay, you have the supply. Hey Saraf, all good, man? All good. How are you? How was your weekend and your week? So yeah, so we do have a little bit of this supply level, and we have maybe something in there to pay attention to as well. Basic price already reacted from this level in there. So it's going to be an interesting one to follow on the indices this week for sure. NASDAQ a bit similar. Okay, so quite the same thing. We mentioned that we had that high, previous high, and then price basically retested a little bit from that and start moving higher. It managed to break below this level, but it just respected basically the demand zone in there. But same thing, we do have this supply where price reacted, and eventually can even have a little bit more of a structure in there to see price reacting from. Again, bigger picture, we did manage to break slightly below this structure, and if you do by any chance start breaking below this level in here, then you may open the door to go all the way until there. Okay, so paying attention to this low, and maybe even more important, maybe some structure in there that can lead eventually to a turn in here. Otherwise, price may just continue to go higher in there. Okay, but again, that negative move on the day after Nvidia's announcement, it's not normal. Okay, it's not that often that you see that happening in here, and you can actually look at Nvidia and look at the PA in there. So we did manage to basically take slightly below these lows. Yes, it gapped up, candle down, and now moved up, and then of course now it's still at the all-time highs in there. Again, that announced a split of the stock in 1/10, if I'm not mistaken, and increase also the dividend, so that's kind of good. But let's see, we do have this demand zone, and eventually when price does retrace to this level, we'll see, right? So again, we need Nvidia. If by any chance, if you are looking for any big sell-off in here on the indices, we especially NASDAQ, we need Nvidia also to start turning bearish in here. Otherwise it's just going to continue. So eventually we're going to go back to this level, and from here it's going to be quite important to see if it holds or if it breaks, and if it breaks, then you can challenge again something in here. Yeah, is this a stock split? Yep, there you go. Okay, on the 10th of June. So we'll see if price is going to continue to be higher until there, or any kind of other opportunity that you'll see. So that's going to be interesting. All right, Dow. Dow, as we mentioned, it was the most negative in terms of PA that we could see. It was the one that was already showing some bearish momentum, or kind of bearish PA in terms of breaking the lows. Okay, the fake out of this high also, it was not as aggressive as it was on the other indices. The other ones actually had a much bigger move to the upside. This one, it was literally just a small turn, and eventually kind of maybe breaking slightly the low, fake out the highs, and breaks the lows again, and there you go, right? So basically that's what we had in here. Again, I was still looking in there, price never really retraced, and then eventually moved to the downside, maybe even left that level once again in there, but it just dropped in here. So reacting a little bit from this demand zone, but who knows if it didn't open the door or not to continue now to move to the downside in here. Yeah, so of course you can retrace a little bit in here, can continue to create more PA eventually to move lower as well. So we'll see what's going to happen around this level. Yeah, interesting one in here. And then DAX, which yes, eventually broke below these lows, and you had kind of this demand zone somewhere in here. It reacted a little bit to the upper edge, a bit more deep into the demand. Again, lower time frame, you can see it, a bit more demand in there. And let's see how price eventually going to go, eventually react from a little bit above this structure. That's more of where I am looking for on the DAX, somewhere somewhere in there. There's maybe something in here still, just above these highs, that maybe price could react, but being aware that maybe there's still something in there, eventually you can actually take this high as well and go even higher in here. So that's eventually what we'll be looking for in here, and then we'll see. Okay, I'll turn much more bearish again if we actually manage to break below this level. I think that will be the literally opening the door to go much further down. Price in this case just respected this demand zone. So again, it's the demand zone that actually managed to break new all-time highs in there. So that may not be completely bearish in here. But of course, I'll be following the PA, and maybe with good PA around this level can lead into a good short. Otherwise, you may just fake out the highs one more time, and then we'll see what's going to happen. Yeah. Do you guys trade indices now? Do you like to trade indices? Boom. Holding. All right, let's look at crypto right away. I can already cover crypto in here. Bitcoin. You don't? Yeah. You just trade FX, right? And you're just trading pound dollar CAD? Is it something like that? Right. BTC, again, since last week or the week before that, it reacted nicely from this extreme. They came all the way to respect this demand zone. Like, so again, it just now is in between these two major levels of structure, reacting a little bit from this supply, maybe can go a little bit down, can react a little bit from this demand zone. That's basically where we are at this point, right? So again, that bullish momentum that we start noticing kind of beginning of May, middle of May, that basically was completed on that move to the upside in there. And at this point, yeah, price can definitely respect a little bit this demand zone, the same way that maybe can respect again this supply in there. And yeah, we'll see. May have a little bit of that one as well. As long as we kind of keep holding this level, maybe we can continue to go higher. If you do start breaking below this low, that's a different story, and we can continue to move or kind of retest this level one more time. And I still like this level. In my opinion, it's still fresh. So by any chance, if price does want to continue to kind of retest this level, it's totally fine to me. But yeah, curious to see how price may react now from this 67, I don't know, 500, something like that. In there. Ethereum, yeah, Ethereum again with that news on Thursday. Yep, so it reacted really nicely from that level of supply in there above this high. The supply actually is quite good. Above, there's not really much unless price actually goes all the way to the extreme in here as well, which can be quite interesting. Okay, and they're talking about around 4K. Okay, 4K, 4045 or something like that. That's basically what we are looking for. So let's see how Ethereum is going to. All right, so dollar CAD and pound. Yeah. Why dollar CAD? Do you really like dollar CAD? It moved quite nicely this week, the CAD pairs. It's just interesting. Yeah, it ranges a lot, so maybe we can find opportunities in there. yeah, so again, Ethereum, we have around this level. Again, as I mentioned, this spike down basically just reacted from this previous supply that didn't really, was not really respected on the way up, which kind of turns into a demand zone in there. Aside from that, did it engulf anything? Not really, right? Because we broke to the upside and then we created this demand zone, kind of this structure, and price just retested this level in here. There's not exactly proper engulf down in this level, so we'll see. Again, it can continue to move higher. I can even eventually get into this level. I think that could be a reasonable zone to look for in there. But let's see how price may react around this structure. Like again, the bigger reversal happened at these lows, and that's kind of what we predicted. The PA was quite good, and now it's just kind of letting price get to this destination in there. Savannah actually starts to turn a bit more bearish in here. Again, good level of supply that it respected. Then there was still another one in there, and since then kind of start to turn, to broke these lows, starts to turn, broke these lows again, even with the news, and then kind of just continue now to get closer to this level, right? So that engulf down is quite nice. It's a small one, didn't really reach this level, and since then kind of just move to the downside, and right now it's actually continue to move even lower. So we'll see what's next level, maybe in there, maybe in here. Yep, we'll see what's going to happen in here. The reality is that crypto apparently found a good range to trade from. Okay, there was of course the expectation that maybe could finally, with this momentum, challenge the highs and eventually create new highs in here. Same thing with BTC, eventually get to 71 and eventually create new all-time highs. But the reality that apparently price or the market is willing to spend a little bit more time within a range in here. So yeah, it found its own balance at this point until eventually something changes and it can carry on more to the upside. Basically, that's what they are doing in here. All right, so let's take a look into the individual currency pairs. So euro. All right, euro. All right, so we were there. Again, in my opinion, not my favorite high, personally, but it is what it is. In the reality, this high now got a bit more closer to, yeah, maybe to the same level on the pound. You'll see what I mean by that. Basically, what I mean is we had a little bit of this high, we have this fake out, and then basically price just retested that level on the pound. On the euro, kind of still a bit lower. We had this structure, and basically price managed to take it. Okay, initially kind of created a little bit of a low in there, and now properly fake out level. I think it may have opened the door. I'm not really sure why price reacted in here. I don't think it reacted from anything important. Eventually kind of mentioned that level as well. So yeah, let's see if this is not actually an engulf down and eventually price can go. But it could actually eventually just go even higher before maybe turning in here. We do need this high to be taken in order to continue to push higher. Otherwise, price will just respect this and push lower again. This move to the upside was already in the kind of compression, to be honest. So if we start breaking below this structure in here, we may actually go all the way to test this level. So maybe something in here would need to hold it and to push price higher. Otherwise, price may just respect actually this supply level in there. And if not, because everything else basically is compressed, so basically this is where this compression basically eventually can start. If you break above that, there's maybe a little bit of a zone in there that price could maybe take and then eventually move higher in there. So a lot of this has been compressed, to be honest. In here, yep, the turn was kind of aggressive, and that's basically where we are at this point. So basically, in my opinion, we managed to break these highs. In my opinion, that high may not be still the final destination. Maybe euro still wants to go slightly higher, and we did manage to break now this low, which can be in a smaller scale comparing with this high. So yes, we could have a little bit of a retracement, maybe from here or maybe from there, until we eventually continue to push price again to the upside in here. And a little bit more in the lower time frame, this level needs to hold. If price does want to continue to push forward, if this level breaks, then I can see it going almost retesting these highs in there. Yeah, that's basically a little bit on the euro dollar for now. In here, it hasn't really been the pair that have been active this week, so I haven't really been looking that much on the euro dollar for opportunities. Pound, that's a different story. Okay, so basically this is what I meant before. So we have this spike, same on the euro, and you had kind of this left shoulder in there, and you actually have this weekly level, maybe daily, per hour maybe. Yeah, kind of this zone in there, where eventual price respected after the CPI. Okay, so the numbers, I think it was slightly higher than expected on the CPI in the UK. And believe it or not, actually I've been looking for sell since there in here. Okay, that was actually the level I was looking for. Price never really retraced back to this level in here. It just paused in there and it paused in there one more time. I was looking especially in here to that. I was already looking in here, to be honest, because I already had that move up, down, broke the lows. So I was already looking for that short. There was maybe PA in here. I was waiting in there. And then on this retracement, especially after breaking this low as well, I was still biased to the downside, at least to look for more sells. But price once again didn't really react there, just paused in here one more time, maybe just use this side to fake out. Okay, it is what it is. And yeah, never really went all the way until there, and that price is just getting close to that level right now. Actually still respected this zone and left one more time that zone in there. Okay, so in my opinion, this is a fresh supply that's still in there. So yeah, maybe a little bit of something, maybe price can do that. We did manage to break below these lows eventually. So we broke first this level, went higher one more time, and then just continued. Again, price still respected this nicely. A KM in here. So we will see. Okay, we will see if this is a move down and price is ready to actually turn from here. Now that we managed to break that level, maybe not really respected that. Let's see if price is ready to do that, or eventually is going to want to go slightly higher, maybe getting a bit closer to here before making that move down. Okay, so potential target eventually in here. There's maybe something in there in alignment with all this structure, and eventually final destination can still be slightly higher in there on the pound. Surav, what's your take? What have you been looking on the pound? Were you looking for shorts as well, especially after Wednesday? Or longs? All right, so again, at around this level, if price reacts from there, for example, and comes back into here, yeah, maybe can look for that sell. Otherwise, I may just continue and eventually challenge a bit more in here. This level can be quite interesting, just above that level, but eventually have this double top, which can actually take us into that level. Now suddenly have all these highs, which takes us into the next one in there. Okay, so that's a little bit of what we have on the pound at this point. Totally okay if price does want still to go slightly, or even though this level may have, yeah, kind of fake out, kind of broke this structure, created this demand zone. So maybe that way is not exactly in goof, or it is. Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting one to see if we do have eventually another leg down in here or not. Euro pound got really close to the lows, finally some momentum, finally breaking away from this level. After many months in here, we had that push upwards, basically just retest this level, and now we are at these lows. And I'm looking eventually, again, I've been waiting for this for a while, eventually for price to get closer to this higher time frame demand. There's a small zone in there that price could just react from. In here, intraday, or kind of a little bit within this level, created a little bit of this pattern. The break to the upside, fake out, we're retesting a little bit. We don't have maybe this supply in there that maybe price could use, eventually move lower again. But yes, at this point, I think the best setup can happen after we maybe take these flows and yeah, maybe navigating somewhere from here and to push a little bit more to the upside, or the natural trade, it could be just from here, retest this level, and then we just continue. Okay, so whatever trade we have to, by any chance, if you are expecting to look any reaction from here, our first target needs to be just a reaction from the previous support level. Okay, because nothing guarantees exactly that price is ready to just do this. Price can literally just react, go and move lower in here. But yes, there's maybe some high probability setup. We'll look for that in there. I'll be looking for that in here. Yeah, it's going to be one of the long setups that I may look for whenever Euro Pound decides to go there in here. Aussie, yeah, brilliantly also. Okay, so it reversed in there. So it's another one. You start breaking lows, created this pattern in here, kept respecting it. Again, I was looking for one more time in there. Didn't really happen. It's a really nice zone 2 type of a move. Again, that fake out, right? We talked about it, I think last week or something like that, about when, like, it's not about just to where to expect or where to look for the fake out, but also when to expect it. Okay, well, basically just that last move just before price finally moves to the downside. And at this point, kind of reacting a little bit from this level. We'll see. Okay, so basically this structure is the one that created this push upwards. So if by any chance price does want to continue to push higher from here, it will make sense to be from somewhere around this level. If price starts breaking below this level, then it starts opening the door to actually go further down, eventually getting closer to maybe back to this structure in here. Okay, we mentioned that part. This is the extreme. Above that level, price then would compress all the way. Okay, have this compression to fill. So at this point, still respected that extreme. So nice move on the Aussie dollar in here. So we'll see now what's going to happen around this level. Euro Aussie just basically doing the opposite, and we have also Pound Aussie doing the opposite. Okay, so initially I mentioned that could have been a little bit of a short opportunity from around this level after, and maybe fake out the structure, but as price starts to spend more and more time in here, I kind of changed my mind a little bit. This look starts to look more of an accumulation phase, where as soon as price breaks in here, there's maybe an opportunity to actually go even more to the upside instead of just a normal fake out and going. Like, price starts to respect kind of a lot of time in here, that actually creates a bit more of momentum, or kind of accumulates more buy orders in here, and eventually when you do break, then yeah, not exactly like maybe one touch, maybe two touches maximum, and then kind of go up straight away so you can fake out. If it starts having way too many touches in here and respecting this all structure, it starts to sound too bullish to me to look for the reversal. Nevertheless, he kind of respected a little bit, just respected the upper edge, and since then moving higher, and you'll see where eventually this one is going to go towards too. Okay, again, also we had all these left shoulders in there. And then Aussie yen. Okay, so again, back to the yen pairs. Right, so this is what I mentioned before. We do have the supply, and price just respected the lower edge of the supply so far. Okay, but we may have still this extreme in here, and there's maybe that gap that price can still eventually go towards to. Okay, so initially price just respect this level, start breaking lows. We did manage to break another low in there, now kind of respect a little bit, and eventually can retest a little bit more of this level. So again, maybe reacting from a bit more of the extreme of this level can be interesting to push forward. That's something to bear in mind. We do have now this accumulation of highs in here, so eventually can fake out that level as well. So that's something to bear in mind on the Aussie yen. Can be an interesting opportunity to sell in here, especially if the Aussie dollar also is in a good level to look for a sell in there. In my opinion, this looks like more of an engulf down. Not really sure if this high is actually reacting from something important in here. So that's a level to look for in here, and can be quite interesting. So that's Aussie yen. Then we have dollar yen, and as I mentioned, let's have this supply as a reference. Okay, so you can see how far away dollar yen is from this level. Okay, again, pound yen index is getting a bit more closer. Yen index already kind of fake out this level. Dollar yen is much lower. Okay, so dollar yen continues within this range. We had a little bit of a spike in here. I think it was Thursday, and apparently dollar yen is still respecting this level. I'm curious to see dollar yen reacting from this level. Okay, that's one of the levels that I'm looking for on the dollar yen. Maybe when dollar yen is in here, maybe the yen index is reacting from that level, and maybe they can turn at the same time. Okay, so at this point you can literally see that dollar yen is lagging way too much until we eventually get to that level. And I do like somewhere in here, maybe can have something in there to push price lower at this point. Okay, we just reacted at this point from this left shoulder all the way until there. Okay, what we don't still have is a proper break to the downside. We do price respected this demand zone in there, so that's nice. We have a little bit of this level, but just respected the next one, so we don't really have a proper break in here. Okay, so that's something that's still missing, and eventually we can have it, so then price can eventually start properly turning in here. Okay, so that's still something that is missing. Now, of course, price can go down, maybe can retest this level in here. Even when you had that big spike down in here, price just respected the demand zone. Okay, didn't even manage to break it in here, and that's why I didn't really force any sales at the highs in here on the dollar yen, because we didn't manage to break below this low in there. Otherwise, I would have maybe tried to look for some sales in there. Even though, again, my favorite level can be somewhere around that level in here, and that's where I'll be looking for on the dollar yen. Euro yen, there you go. So it's getting closer. Okay, so we have again the lower edge and we have the extreme. Okay, kind of that zone. So euro yen is getting closer. So we had a little bit of this reversal setup, but price just kept respecting. Okay, fake out these lows. Price respected the demand zone to entire little bit more, respected this level, and now just reacted from this lower extreme. Again, with those news, I actually tried to sell this one. This week was a bit of a many misses opportunities. Didn't really got the retracement that I would like to see to get in the trade. So that was one of them. I was looking at this one. As soon as price kind of break this level, I tried to look for yeah, basically what I wanted was, where are we? Yeah, so can you see the opposite? Like on the dollar yen, we respected the demand zone. On the euro yen, we actually managed to break below these lows and kind of open the door to go there. And that's why I kind of was looking for that sell. I did like also the fake out in here. I like the PA in general. And we kind of started to create this. So I was looking for price basically to break one of these levels. On the tick charts a bit more clear, but then I was looking for kind of that small retracement go, but price just dropped. Didn't look back, just dropped, and yeah, I end up missing the setup in there. Kind of same thing. I was looking at the pound yen as well at the same time, but this is the difference. Like I saw this one, it broke, as I mentioned. Pound yen, sorry, dollar yen didn't. Like with the spike down, it just respected the demand, so I was not really interested in here. Crazy enough, basically this one actually may have the retracement in here before actually moving down. It is what it is. Yeah, so that was euro yen. Since then, price moved higher. Again, I really like the way price respects the extremes. Okay, the way price eventually reacts back from this level, and this level in here, the way price actually reacts from this level now to break to the upside. Okay, so basically respect the lower edge of this level. Okay, price goes up, and as soon as you kind of from here, it's one of the two things. Like we actually have this supply. One of the two things happens in here: either price respects and moves lower, or price actually starts breaking and kind of move as a continuation. Now, this is not the type of trade that I still take. Especially kind of as a trend continuation setup, but it works wonders. Okay, it's really good. If you do manage to identify correctly this range, you can look for plenty of opportunities just in alignment with this level. Okay, it's just basically wait to see price kind of breaking to the downside, or then respecting one more level, and take the trade again, kind of at the other extreme, take again, and kind of again one more bounce in here, price goes down, price ups, bounces in here again and goes. Again, same thing, bounces one more time from this level, one more time in here, prices break, starts break to the upside, break one more time in here, retest this level and go. So you can see how many basically setups you can have around this line and this line in here, depending on if price is breaking lows or highs, or kind of where you think that eventual price can go towards to. There you go, right? Another retesting there, and price eventually went to the upside. So yeah, being able to identify kind of these ranges, it's great, to be honest. In here, now price reacted from there. Again, is not yet at the level, as I mentioned. It started to react a little bit from the lower edge in here, and within this kind of supply level we have the lower edge in there, and we have kind of that level which is in alignment to these left shoulders as well. So that can be interesting in here, but at this point price just reacted from there. So we'll see. Personally, I would like to see it going slightly higher eventually. Okay, and yep, maybe create a little bit of structure in here and eventually get to that supply to push lower. Aussie yen, pound yen already reacted from it. At least add some kind of reaction, so you can start expecting maybe the other yen pairs eventually to want to get there, that you could have some reaction as well. Okay, this is another way to use correlation. It's not just to see movements in the same direction, it's also to see what levels price actually reacted to, especially if one of the others is lagging in comparison to the other one. If one is leading and is reacting nicely from a level, the other one that is lagging, there's a high probability that can have at least some kind of reaction as well from the same level. Okay, and you're talking about maybe from the same supply, from same demand that was created at around the same time. Okay, so that's another way to use correlation in here. So we'll see. Okay, we'll see. Again, proper break of to the downside in here may start opening the door to a bigger move down. Okay, that's eventually what's going to happen. As you can see, we are kind of moving more in this kind of horizontal way, a little bit new highs, but it's not the bullish kind of the most bullish kind of PA that you can see in here. Okay, where price just goes higher without any retracements, and that's what I meant this week, that there is a high probability by looking at the yen index, when you have a little bit of a compression but with a little bit more of kind of width, a bit more or wide in this case, and that can offer opportunities for both buyers and sellers on the individual yen pairs. And basically, either if you're a long or short, there was opportunities to try to participate in here, at least on intraday, to take advantage from. Okay, so that's euro yen. Again, pound yen, that's the other one. And as you can see, pound yen initially respected that level a few times in here. Okay, didn't really manage to break properly a low. It just respect this upper edge of the level. It's even left behind that demand zone. Eventually fake out the level and then another move down, kind of reacted in here. Okay, that actually was the one that I was looking for, kind of that sell initially in there, and then actually is already breaking. Okay, so the actually pound yen is the one that is getting closer to actually break these highs in here that we had from the end of April. Okay, so we'll see. Again, the compression is quite interesting. We did manage to fake out slightly that low in here. I think that was what retail sales in the UK, something like that. So I'm curious to see. Okay, again, at this point, pound yen is the most bullish between the yen pairs. Okay, so if by any chance you're looking for sales, be careful with this one in here. So we will see. Maybe should we go all the way and eventually fake out this highs. Again, don't forget, again, bigger picture actually. If you actually look at it, we broke these highs in here on the pound yen, and we only retraced basically to react from the demand zone. We actually missed slightly the demand zone, to be honest. I think there can be some more opportunities to buy next time that pound yen retraces back to this level. But thinking in terms of higher time frame movement, we moved down. We respected perfectly this level. That makes it bullish, even for this high to be broken. And then we just broke to the upside, retraced the demand zone on the daily time frame, and there's a high probability that we are actually going to take these highs and maybe get a little bit maybe closer to maybe something in there. Maybe this level is not that important, and who knows if eventually going to go all the way even towards that level in there. Okay, but then pound yen, that's a bit more of what you're looking for. May have a little bit of this structure. Eventually in the future, looking for some left shoulders in there, in here. But yes, between the end pairs, this is one of the bullish of the end pairs in here. So just bear that in mind in here. And then we can actually look a little bit at CAD-yen. CAD-yen is also lagging a lot. You compare with the supply level in there. Okay. And yeah, it just managed to continue to respect these lows all this time. And then eventually finally managed to break slightly above this highs in here. And that takes us into dollar CAD. Okay. And dollar CAD, again, it took these lows on the weekly or daily time frame. It kind of respects the upper edge of the demand zone. On the lower time frame, it looks like there's still a little bit of a space in here to go, and price just respected kind of back into this level one more time. And Friday was a big sell-off on the CAD pairs, and yeah, that was another one that left me a bit pissed with the Euro CAD. I was not really looking to trade dollar CAD, to be honest. I didn't really like the level where price was reacting. Sort of, I don't know if you got anything in there or not on the dollar CAD. Maybe there was some PA, but to be honest, I was not really a big fan of where price was, so I didn't really look at it. Euro CAD on the other side, it was much better. We did manage to break below this level. I'm curious just to see how price may react a little bit from here, if it holds and pushes higher, or if price is ready to kind of move a bit more to the downside and maybe towards this demand zone, and maybe from here it can go a bit more to the upside. Okay, we'll see what dollar CAD is going to do around this level. And then Euro CAD, that was a short actually that yeah, pissed me off. So this was a level that we've been looking for. Okay, we've been bullish on Euro CAD. We mentioned since we kind of managed to break a little bit above this level, especially the second break again, we're looking for price to get closer to this range. Right, so that was a level that we've been looking for. And yesterday, apparently, not yesterday again, Friday, apparently it was the day that it finally moved upwards, and then you're looking for the sell. It finally moved away from this range. Again, we have been also looking at it eventually for this demand zone, for price to go there. Neither this low, neither this one, or neither this one's. Price got close to that level. I think maybe price now can finally get there, and maybe from there there's an opportunity to look for longs. But there you go, right? So we have been looking. I followed the compression all day long, especially morning. I think this move up and it was kind of, yeah, at around 2 p.m. or something like that. So I followed the compression. I love this low, so we managed to break a low, so I love to see that. Okay, we have the initial low being broken. Many people are starting to be attracted to selling here, not really paying attention to the left side. But then, unfortunately to me, I decided to actually look for the supply. Okay, in the morning, I actually had a little bit of this level, but then I found that one, and it kind of attracted a little bit more my interest in alignment a little bit with this structure, that one. But yeah, this is a KM as well in there. It's valid. For some reason, I kind of looked a bit more higher, and that was the one that I had my alerts. However, if by any chance price had created slightly better PI, I actually would have participated. But it was once again one of those that price just dropped. Right, price just went upwards on 1 minute. There's not exactly much PI around this level to get in. Again, on the tick charts, there's a great PI in here, something that I was not really looking at. Kind of my alerts was actually slightly higher. And then kind of I realized it, and when I realized it, price was already kind of somewhere in there. There was not really much PI going on in there, as you can see on 1 minute, not much. Price just dropped and dropped and dropped, and there you go. Right, it's again one of those that price just moves away. But personally, again, that break to the downside, this is one of my favorite approaches that I can see in here. And this is, again, literally selling at the exhaustion after price making such a big rally. This which is kind of the head, like in here. But yes, that break, it's amazing. In here, it starts literally giving the indication the price is about to break. It was just one last push to the upside. There was actually maybe some news in the related to Canada on Friday. I don't really remember what, but there was, I think, some kind of news. Another push upwards, and then a move down. So yeah, unfortunately. And again, in terms of the ranges, as you can see, another one interesting. I start having those kind of ranges in there, and how price eventually create another kind of PI in here that kind of reacted from there. So we'll see. Again, target at this level, at this point, yeah, looking for price maybe to take these lows, that can be quite reasonable. One of the targets initially for this sell, it will be just even to test this level. Price then decides to break a bit more to downside. Yeah, that eventually can go towards that level. If it retraces, am I still interested in selling in here? Maybe not. Maybe price now can use this high to fake out and maybe finally react from the supply that I wanted in the first place, which is a little bit higher. So that's just a few ideas in here on the euro CAD. If by any chance price retraces all the way back to the level in there. But this is one of my favorite setups as well. Is when price is compressing, all of a sudden makes a strong push upwards in a compression way. If you follow PA on the lower time frame, you can see how price was compressing, which then kind of opens the door for this big turn around in here. So yeah, that was yeah, unfortunately, yeah, did miss that one as well. Yeah, so that's one of that. Yeah, looking at our franc Swiss, our franc Swiss just continues to be within this range, reacting a little bit from this left shoulder in here. Yeah, something in there. Yeah, not really much to talk about, just be in this range. Initially, I was kind of interested in trying to sell in here. I'm not really interested anymore. The way price has been spending so much time around this level, I think eventually if price breaks again to the upside, I think he can go a little bit more towards there. I don't really like this level anymore in here, and I think price can just maybe navigate a bit more to the upside, can even retrace this level one more time, push higher. Yeah, maybe something like that. I don't really see it anymore as a level in here to properly turn in here. Just I'm not really that fascinated about that one anymore. So yeah, we'll see, and maybe can even go all the way and take the highs, to be honest. In here, so we'll see on the dollar franc Swiss. Gold, yeah, gold just moved to downside. That was something that we noticed as well in here. That's basically where price opened. We talked about it within the server a lot about this one and the opportunities to look to the downside, and now price basically filled the range in here as well, starts reacting a little bit from this level. There's maybe more room to downside in here. Price just respected it. We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen on gold. But it was another one, a nice fake out, kind of managed to break some of these lows. I respected that structure. Fake out, kind of banking, retracing all the way back to the structure in here. This demand zone was fresh. So let's see what kind of PA we are going to create in here. If gold is ready to move upwards from here, there's maybe even that level as well. Or if price is going to continue eventually to push more to the downside in here. So that's an interesting one in there. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see on gold what's going to happen in here. And then we have oil as well. This is something that we have been following in here as well. Yep, nice move to downside. So we finally managed to take the highs. It was something that we're looking for. If you recall, that was one setup that kind of we're looking for price to eventually take this level, react from here, as some kind of reaction. We mentioned also that there was this double bottom and the supply, sorry, the demand was still fresh. That's basically where oil reacted from on Friday, if not mistaken, and since then it just turned, right? So now basically it needs to take these highs to confirm another move. Again, reacted from the upper edge in there. There's maybe still another retracement in here that can happen on oil as well. So it's going to be interesting. Confirming the break of this high again opens the door to go higher and eventually kind of in here. We already broke these highs without really retracing properly that level, so that can already be seen also as a move upwards. So we'll see if this is kind of a little bit of a turn on oil from here. I can retrace one more time this level. That would be ideal. Well, main difference in here with Brent, okay, is that we already managed to break below this level, or kind of which we retested these lows. We didn't really react any kind of demand in there. On Brent, we already went all the way to be able kind of reach to the extreme of this range, and we may have that demand zone or in there that price can eventually go to. On oil, as you can see, crude oil in this case, looking at that range that will be there, and then you have that demand zone in here. So that's the main difference, that this one is still respecting this level and the other one already kind of broke it, and there's eventually a bit more room to downside, maybe to react from this demand zone before pushing higher in here. And also another difference is that Brent didn't really manage to break above these highs, okay, just respected the supply and move lower, while WTI, as we saw, it actually managed to break above this structure in here. So that's the main differences between these two, which they are super correlated. But again, sometimes when you have two correlated or strong correlated assets, sometimes in terms of PI, there's still differences in there. So yes, because maybe you didn't really manage to break to the upside, maybe you actually need to break first some structuring here before to go higher. On oil, we actually managed to break in here, so maybe just from this demand zone, it's enough to push to the upside. Okay, we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. And that's basically it, guys, for today. It's a quick one. Again, highlights the dollar to see which direction goes. Indices, special attention to see at the highs if you actually respect them or move lower or move lower. Commodities as well, with oil maybe turning here, or gold can also turn out from these lows as well. And the N pairs are going to continue to be my focus as well, to see if eventually we have a potential turn in there. So with that being said, guys, again, thank you very much. Next week I'm going to be in Portugal, so I'm not going to do the stream. So I'll be back in 2 weeks from now. But expect more content from me, that's for sure. I'm going to continue to create much more content in the next few weeks. So thank you very much, guys. Have a good one. Bye bye.